Georgia Bell was Great Britain's 1500 metre Olympic bronze medalist at Paris 2024, arriving in medal form like a bolt from the blue and at exactly the right time, setting records tumbling in the process. 12 months ago, and with Paris something of a distant dream, Georgia was crowned the Duathlon World Champion in her age category at the Ibiza Multisport World Championships. And with the Townsville edition of the annual festival of all things multisport getting underway this week, what better time to hear from her? So Georgia, welcome to the podcast. How are you? Where are you?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm actually in my flat in London, which is really nice to be here because it seems very fleeting at the moment. I come back in and I'm like, have to remind myself that I live here because it's a lot of on the go
Yeah.
at the moment. I only got back from Paris on Monday, and we were there for about a month, and then don't have too long till heading away again to race to continue the season. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's all systems go at the moment.
I was thinking your race being like the big one the last weekend, maybe it hadn't been quite so intense in the build-up, but obviously, yes.
Yeah, so we had a holding camp out in Paris Saint-Germain before we headed to the athlete village. So probably just under a month, but kind of 3.5 weeks that we were just there, still training, and then headed to the athlete village.
So quite the year and a bit since that Ibiza race.
Yeah.
There must have been a few people watching there on last Saturday that were like, "Hang on, I raced against her in Ibiza. I'm sure it's her."
Yeah, I mean, a bit of an interesting transition, I guess, from duathlon to track. So I was originally a track runner when I was younger, and then kind of through COVID took up cycling, and just realized that you could do triathlon without the swim, which is very appealing to me. Don't love swimming, so doing 2 runs and a bike is how I got into duathlon. Did a few kind of local ones, and then yeah, the big goal for me was to try and make Ibiza last year for World Champs. And yeah, was really happy to get the win on the day for my age group. Did not think that I would be at the Olympics back on the track a year later. But I do think it really contributed to, yeah, just that endurance fitness.
Whereabouts were you in your general, I don't know, plans, goals, aspirations within the sport, either sport at that stage?
Yeah, so last year when I won Ibiza, like that was kind of like my Olympics. Like I was really just really wanted to make the team first of all, and then really trained for it. And then yeah, on the day I really wanted to win. And then afterwards it was kind of like, okay, what now? I did that in the age group category and won by a good few minutes. So I kind of thought probably the next logical step would try and go in the elite category. And then I started training a little bit more with the group that are based in Manchester. So the team that I'm part of, with Trevor Painter's group, I started doing a bit more with them. And that kind of gave me an indication that I was getting quite track fit, being able to hang on to Keely Hodgkinson and Sarah Healy and stuff and training made me think that actually perhaps I should focus a little bit more time looking at the track. Just because the duathlon, I would love it if it was kind of a big event at big championships like the Olympics, but realistically, it's always going to be triathlon. And I just didn't think that I would be able to be that competitive in the triathlon, um, in comparison to the track. So yeah, it's probably the right decision in hindsight just to park the duathlon and focus on the track a little bit.
I think so, clearly. But yeah, like you said, the competition obviously it varies massively from nation to nation, but to get on that start line as an age grouper, the competition for GB, much like Australia this year, the US, Mexico even, yeah, it's heavily contested, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think in the trial race in Grafham, which it was for us, I think I came fourth, and I found it like really, really hard. My legs, like I remember it was like 200 meters to go. I could see the finish, and I actually contemplated like dropping out there and then just to give some insight into like how much in pain I was. I was not okay. So yeah, there are really good athletes in the mix, definitely. And it's just kind of cool to turn to a bit of a new sport, you can apply some of your athletic background that I could with the running, but cycling was still a novelty to me. Cycling racing still very much a novelty, and things to learn there. So yeah, lots of good athletes pushing us on.
Slightly different atmosphere. I mean, the Ibiza atmosphere was good, right? There was, well, I guess particularly that day as well. They had Mario Mola, right, a local hero, kind of winning the elite and so on.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was like the whole, yeah, I loved that day. It was great. It was a really cool location in Ibiza. And yeah, just really fun day.
You got your like finish moment slightly robbed by someone just in front of you, though, didn't you?
Can you believe that? Yeah, I'm still annoyed about that. So I could see, so yeah, I knew that I was the first female, so I knew that I was the winner, and I could see the guys standing there kind of preparing to hold up the tape. They had it there ready to go. And so I even like slowed down to get them to get their ducks in a row and lift it up. And one of them must have just said, "Oh no, like she's not first," and made them put it back down. So I kind of really anticlimactically at the end of those 2 hours just jogged over the line and was like, oh, there's that moment gone.
Well, it looked like the guy in front of you was just maybe too close. You couldn't really see what.
Yeah, I couldn't quite work it out, but I was like, oh, that's a shame. I really was looking forward to running through the tape.
Oh
Don't know
man.
if I'll ever get that moment again, but yeah, I will.
On balance, then, the Stade de France atmosphere in there, then that's a good one to be able to park the disappointment of an Ibiza tape finish moment. Then, have you ever experienced anything like that electricity in that stadium?
No, not at all. I knew it was going to be insane. It's like definitely the biggest stadium I'd ever been in. A couple of weeks prior, I did the London Diamond League, and that was 60,000 people and obviously a home crowd. So I got a bit of a taster there of how fast you can run and how fun it is when you are in that kind of environment. And then yeah, Stade France was insane. It was 80,000 people, I think. Even the morning sessions for our heats was so loud, so full. So yeah, I feel just really lucky that I got to compete in that stadium.
Yeah, the Paris crowds were something else, and whether or not it didn't seem to matter really. If the successful athletes were French or not, they were just seeing it and getting into it, and it was yeah. You must have, if you were there for a month, you must have really got swept up in it all as well.
Yeah, definitely. And because I was born in Paris, like we were reading some of the kind of local stuff, and some of the Paris papers and stuff had kind of adopted me. So I think I got a few extra cheers. Like they were really loud in my races. So that might have been helpful. It wasn't quite a home crowd, but I felt like I did get probably a bigger cheer than maybe I would have otherwise.
Born and lived for how long in that early period then? Was it?
Not very long. So I was just there. Me and my older sister were born there for my parents' jobs at the time. So I moved back to the UK when I was about 3, I think. So I don't remember much of it at all, and sadly don't speak any French, which still annoyed at my parents about. But
Because your first sub 4 minute was also in Paris, right? That was
yeah,
in July, like having had that as presumably like a massive target sort of looming over when you've got such a clear barrier,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
definitely. So the sub 4 mark in women's 1500-meter running is like a big barrier, and I just run lots of indoor races and done 403 about 4 or 5 times. And just really was keen to break the 4 minute mark. And knew that Paris Diamond League before the Olympics would be a really good opportunity for it. So Faith ran her own world record, ran super fast, and yeah, just got pulled round with a good mix of really good athletes to run a big PB, which then again at the race the other day in the Olympic final got smashed again. So it just goes to show when you have these athletes in the race and these huge stadiums and great atmosphere, like you run. What I'm just finding is you can run so much faster than you ever thought was possible. And there's a reason why you can't just pop down to Battersea track and run those kind of times.
so just to put the numbers out, so it was just under 3 minutes 57 at the Paris Diamond League then, right? And
Yeah.
that was that was the first time under. So that's over 3 seconds, the first time you cut off. And then for the bronze, it was 3 minutes 52. So that's 8 seconds under.
Yeah.
Did you feel, yeah, like you were running free? Did you feel like there was did you feel under a lot of pressure either from yourself or outside to succeed? Or was there a sense of like, I'm here, this is my moment, and you were just able to loosen up a little bit somehow?
Yeah, I feel like I was in such a lucky position that I'll probably never be in again. Like I had absolutely no pressure on my back going into the Olympics. Kind of making it to the Olympics in itself was almost great because of where I'd come from. Only stopped working full time in May and having so much time away from the sport and then coming back, it was like making the Olympics in itself was going to be a huge achievement. And so going through the rounds, I was just feeling really good, and me and my coaching team knew that I would if I could hang on in the final, then I'd be able to do something special. So yeah, I just feel like it's probably a situation I'll never be in again because now there's expectation. Once you win an Olympic medal, there's always going to be, you know, an expectation that you're going to do well. And so that day on the start line, I was just like, gonna go for it, gonna give it my all. I've got nothing to lose in the shape of my life, and I kind of just knew that it was gonna happen that day. I can't really describe it. I was really calm, really positive, and just said, "Don't let them go." And like, if you're there with 100 to go, you'll do it.
Well, and thanks for giving us another great evening for shouting at the TV. That was one where the kids were there, and it's like the ebb and the flow of that event, right? And the surges that people put in and look like they've gapped, and then it's just shut off quickly.
Mhm.
I mean, it was fascinating watching that final lap unfold.
Yeah.
Presumably less fascinating to be in and more just desperate.
No, I find it fun as well. Like
Yeah.
1500-meter running, it is like a game of chess. Like, people are going to make moves, but when are they going to make it, and who's going to be making them? I knew it was going to be fast, like full gas from the gun. My plan was just make sure that they don't gap you no matter what happens. Like make sure that you're always in touching distance of that front group because it's really hard to make up the ground even if it's just a meter or two. It's really hard physically and mentally to get back. So yeah, there were changes all the way till the last meter, weren't there? Made it, left it late, but luckily just got there in the end.
And it was at the bell that you kind of put in your own surge. It looked like I heard you mention about like not wanting to get boxed in, having felt like a
Mhm.
little bit like that at the Paris Diamond League, and that was
Yeah.
something that it looked like watching back that at the bell. It was just right. I'm moving to the outside and I'm putting my own surge in, and that was like the kind of moment that defined that section of the race, at least for you.
Yeah, definitely. Like there was still a lot of us at the bell, and you just want to be keeping moving, and you don't want to interrupt your momentum. So if you're kind of having to sidestep or do things like that, it's really tiring. Like so, I just wanted to get a clear run, and yeah, I luckily managed to get kind of some positioning at the lap to go. That meant I could just hang on to the back of Jess and others that were running down quickly. So. Yeah, but positioning and tactics is so important in 1500 meters. Like everyone's so good that your positioning and where you are in the home straight can be the difference of a medal or not. And that's kind of what it came down to as well for third and fourth between me and Marteggi.
Is that what you work on quite a lot in training as well? Then, like, interested to know. So, Trevor Painter is your coach and has been on and off for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Is part of his success that like the tactical nous as well, or what is the magic in that partnership?
I mean, we talk about tactics the day before a race. We'll meet and we'll go through like different scenarios of how the race could go. Like, you never know for sure until the gun goes off what is going to happen. Like, it could be slow and then there's a pickup, and I've had races like that. Um, but obviously, that wasn't the case for the Olympic final. But I think, honestly, with the tactics, that's more instinct. And I think even though I had a big breakout from the sport, I've been surprised at how that sort of thing has just come naturally back quite quickly because you can't overthink it. You're making split second decisions. It's all moving very quickly. It's almost like you see a gap and you go. And I almost think me not overthinking it is how I've been able to get into these good results and good positions. Whereas like if you overthink and you think, God, they're going at 3:52 pace, that's really scary. And you might hang back. But if you're just like, there's a gap, close the gap, like hang on to the back of their spikes, like you just are then putting yourself in a position to do well. So yeah, we talk about tactics, but I think a lot of it does just come down to racing instincts.
And I know you talk about the cycling element as potentially like a bit of a secret weapon for you in terms of
Hmm.
like capacity and what the whether it's a long ride or a sweaty Zwift session, what that
Yeah.
brings to you. But I guess there's also the sense of that not overthinking, right? If you're in a massive bike pack doing 50, 60K, then you can't overthink either. And there is a similarity there to be drawn, presumably.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think one thing that's interesting with cycling is like when you're out cycling on the roads with a group of people, you don't want to get dropped because like you could be on a 3, 4 hour ride. If you get dropped, like ugh, that's just grim
Lonely.
being on your own. So you kind of don't have a choice. You just have to kind of hang on, even though you're in pain. Just like make sure you don't get dropped. And that's a good kind of mindset. Like you have to hang on. And yeah, cycling, I honestly just think there's got to be a connection between the kind of results that I'm running now. Like I'm running faster than I've ever run. And I've been doing 3, 4 years of cycling now, doing kind of 100 miles a week. And I'd never done that in the past. So I do just think it's where all my endurance comes from. And it's allowed me to stay injury free, touch wood, whereas in the past I was just bones breaking, stress fractures from too much running. So yeah, that's me for the future forever, I think. Cycling will never go out of the program. And yeah, I'm very happy about that. I love
Yeah.
cycling.
And is that something that anyone else in the group? So you sort of you live in Clapham,
Yeah.
train obviously a lot down there. Trevor's based up north, right? Is it
Mm.
sort of is it Manchester? Near
Yeah,
Manchester.
like Manchester, Wigan way.
Yeah. Um, so are there many others in that group? Like how does he feel about the whole cycling thing? Was he a bit like raised eyebrow and how's this going to fit in? Or was it like, oh, this is obviously working and I don't know, is there
Yeah, he's been really flexible. Like he thinks, yeah, it's obviously working and wants to keep it, for forever now with me, not necessarily with other athletes, but he's got some other triathletes in the group, like Erin Wallace did do Super League triathlon, and so she's come a bit back from that background as well. And yeah, he doesn't set me training per se with cycling, but he'll just put on my plan, like easy ride or Zwift today or Zwift workout. And then he knows that every Sunday, instead of a long ride, so I'll go out for kind of 4 hours odd with people. And I'm lucky that I have people around down south that I can cycle with. So yeah, not runners per se, but just other cycling groups.
and that was something that you just picked up and felt very comfortable with pretty quickly, was it? Because, the things like the Multisport World Champs, we get a lot of opportunities to meet age groupers, and everyone's story is completely different how they've ended
Yeah.
up there. And a lot of it is happenstance or just taking a punt on something. And yeah, within 3 or 4 years, like you said, it's obviously become a huge part of your life.
Yeah, so I just have a few friends, like my boyfriend's a big cyclist as well, so it's just a real social thing. And yeah, just started off just purely for exercise and enjoyment, and then obviously getting into actually racing with cycling. Like I would love to do more racing with cycling. The concern is always coming off your bike and then not being able to run or anything. And sadly, that does happen a lot in London. So you just really need to be careful about that. I would love to do some more. The thing that's good about the duathlons is that it's no drafting, so your chance of a crash are less, in my opinion, I think, just because you've got your kind of own space and you can just crack on your own. But yeah, you've always just got to be careful about that safety element.
That was an hour plus in the saddle in Ibiza, wasn't it? On a
Yes.
pretty hot day off the back of a 5K run with 10K run still to go the other side, just for.
It was 10K to start, then
Sorry.
40K on the bike, and then yeah, 5K at the end. Thank God it was only a 5K at the end because 10K at the end of that would be hard. But yeah, it was hot. Um, yeah, I think yeah, just around, you might know better than me, but like around 2 hours ish, I think,
Yeah.
total. So then I always think about that. I'm like, when I'm standing on the start line to do a 1500 meters, I'm like, this is gonna be 4 minutes long, and you need to race 2 hours. Like you can put yourself in pain for 4 minutes. You can do this. So it's good for your perspective.
Yeah. Well, like Julie Duron in the, silver medal in the triathlon, she was saying like, the 70.3, the mid distance for triathlon was what she was building in. And yeah, there's got to be something in that, right? If you,
Yeah, exactly. It's good. It's good for like your perspective when you're racing, because obviously it's going to be painful no matter what. But like if you know you've gone through harder things, then yeah. And I do have to say, I do train really hard, but I do think triathletes must train the hardest. Just even getting a brief insight into when I did it last year, it's just there's so much volume that you need to get done across three different disciplines. Like it's a lot. It's a lot of work. I've spoken to Erin Wallace about it before as well, and we both agree that
they're the toughest
they
out
seem
there.
to be,
They are the
yeah,
toughest
it must
athletes
be
on
the
the,
toughest one to train for. So a lot of
no,
respect for full-time triathletes.
yeah. How was your time? So it was a track scholarship that took you to California for studying, right?
Yeah.
That's like pursuing the dream, right? I'm going to
Mhm.
California. I'm doing the NCAA. Did it surprise you how much there was? There's a reason why the US was so successful at the games this year and most years, right? And
Yeah.
that program has a lot to do with it. But
I think, yeah, I mean, just in general, the US, they have so much depth across, you saw it across all the track events. And I mean, even the people that got left at home that didn't make the team, they would be making any other teams across the world for different countries. They've just got such a high level and so many people that can do it. But I just think there most high schools have a track. Like most people ran track at some point. Like it's much more accessible and easier to get into. And yeah, going over there on a scholarship, it is a crazy insight. You're basically a professional out there, like you're part of a team. We had our own like plane that would fly us,
what?
to meet, just because there's loads of us, and kits and everything like that, that you just wouldn't, you almost get like the glamour and the treatment of a professional athlete.
Mm,
And if it works out and you can do well with the training, then it is fantastic, because the NCAA is like professional out there, they have huge stadiums. It's all taken very seriously. It's not like university running in the UK where you might have mum and dad that show up and a couple of, supportive friends for a track meet. It's like proper business out there.
mm,
But ultimately for me and a lot of English athletes, it doesn't quite work out to produce the best athletes, and that's purely because of the volume, I think. They're just, it's a big mileage philosophy, big rosters, and it's kind of sit into that and crack on. And unfortunately, if you can't, which was my case, then you just don't end up running as fast, which is why I kind of quit after I graduated, because I just hadn't seen any improvements for years. And yeah, I
mm.
just never thought I'd run or do anything like that again.
So there's something you think like the sheer volume of athletes that they're passing through. It's like, well, we're gonna like run them as hard as we can because there'll always be some that will sort of survive it, and they're the ones. Whereas in GB or around the world, like it's perhaps remarkable to even be able to be competitive against that. But there's like more of a care, more of a sort of tailored approach to those athletes that are clearly.
Yeah, exactly. And you are kind of like a business deal, they're paying a lot for you to be there on a track scholarship. Like universities in America, to go to university there, it's crazy money. So if they're kind of covering you, of course they're going to want you to race as much as possible and always put you in when maybe you're not quite right. And I do get that. I do actually understand why they do that. And yeah, that's why it leads to more injuries and stuff, because you're just a little bit more overworked, whereas in the UK it might be a bit more personalized and tailored. But yeah, I mean, I loved being out there when I was 21. I just wanted to move to California and live that life. So I did still have a great time. I'm just very happy that I've had a second shot with running
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So just it was your experience was like getting injured quite regularly by the sounds of it,
Yeah.
and that sort of, I guess what seemed like the dream scenario kind of became a little bit tainted, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, still an incredible experience. And those, I guess, being that far away from home and seeing your times and ability actually sort of not improving
Hmm.
must have been like a huge toughening experience for you as well, mentally. And
Yeah, it was really tough, especially like when you've just had experience of being good, then to just really get not just like a bit bad, but like coming last in the race bad, coming like 15, 20 seconds off your PB bad. Like it was really brutal. And especially when you're there on scholarship, like your people are kind of looking around saying, haven't isn't she meant to be like the best, one of the best in England? And it's like she's not doing so well. So that was really tough, and that definitely led to me just being very physically and mentally burnt out and disconnected from the sport. And like when by the time I had my last race in the NCAA, I was so ready to quit and never put on spikes again and go into the working world and yeah, just be a normal human.
so was Tokyo quite a tough watch, or was that a moment of an extra moment of inspiration again?
I think it was an extra moment of inspiration. Like Tokyo, I watched it from the couch like everyone else. And my mum was sending me photos of like athletes that I used to race against that were competing in the game. So she was sending me old pictures of like me running with Alex Bell and Katie Snowdon. So it was kind of interesting watching it going like, oh, I'm pretty sure I used to beat them. And now they're at the Olympics. But it wasn't sad. I more just found that like really motivating. And I was like, if they can do it, like that's amazing that they've got to that point. And you know what, like I didn't get back into running with the hope of going to the Olympics, but I was more just feeling, I think how lots of people do after the Olympics, they just feel like inspired. They just want to get out and go for a run. They want to sign up to something. So I must have signed up to like some or decided to do some park runs or some local run throughs and stuff. Just something to have like a goal to work towards. And that just started seeing improvements. And then that's what led me a year later to get in contact with Trev again because I'd gained some fitness on my own. Um, and that had translated into running okay times like on the track. Like I'd gone back to doing a 5K on the track and I'd run like a 16:08 on the track on my own without any training plan to follow. And I think that was enough for him to say, okay, like that's pretty decent for just on your own. And yeah, let's try and follow a plan again and just see where we land.
And if you're going fast and you're feeling it, you're enjoying it, right? And you want to do it more.
Yeah, exactly. Like I had that feeling back again of really enjoying running, like really look forward to the time of my day when I was going for a run and more as well that competitive side. Like I wanted to get on a track again and race. Like whereas when I quit towards the end in the NCAA, I was just like dreading races or just really disillusioned. And like now my mindset is so different. Like I think one of the things that I love the most about this life is that feeling of competing, like that adrenaline standing on the start line, walking out into the stadium, like you have to love it, I think, to really perform well at the top level. Like you have to really thrive off that rather than getting nervous or obviously like dreading it in any way.
Was there, yeah, so that stood on that start line on Saturday, the last track day of Paris 2024. It wasn't, you didn't feel overwrought by the moment.
No, I felt like I like took
Impressive.
time when I did my stride coming out of the tunnel to like look around and soak in the atmosphere. I'll always smile on the start line when they, come to me because I think it's just important to like remember how cool this is, how lucky it is. I always think I could be at work right now, but here I am. And I was just calm. Like I spoke to Jess Hull afterwards and she was like, in the call room, I was just looking at you because you were just like relaxed. Like when everyone else is like legs twitching and like kind of slapping their legs and walking around. But I just felt calm, like nothing to lose, like this is an amazing opportunity. Just go for it. Like it's gonna be painful, but like it's also gonna be fun. So yeah, I just tried to channel that on the start line.
Brilliant. Well, and it's that is obviously so relatable to so many people. Just you know, the park run, the taking a gap, the
Yeah.
juggling from work and so on, and like, you know, your approach to it, the way you've been before and since, is exactly the sort of thing that will inspire other people. I'm sure you must have had countless messages since of people, you know, you just hear the word park run and suddenly, or age group duathlete, and it's like it's a sort of bonding thing for other people, right? To just be like, this is
Yeah, definitely. Like I had so many people before the games like message me just saying like, oh, you've inspired me to like go and do this or go and do park run or whatever. And then since I've had so many people message saying you've inspired me to start like my own comeback. So people that were like a certain level in sport and now they've decided to start working towards their national championships next year or something like that. So yeah, it has been really nice, and I think it's never too late to just go back to something. The main thing is just going back to it, obviously, because you enjoy it, and you look forward to that time of the day. You've got friends through it. It's social, and then over time, if you keep showing up, like I think, of course, you're going to improve. So yeah, it's really nice to hear those stories.
and you're still only a month into your first two sub 4 minute right 1500,
Yeah,
so there's no doubt that's going to be like, yeah, middle distance is presumably where you are for the next little while, but there's
yeah.
3,000 people gathering in Townsville over the next couple of days for
I
the
know, how exciting. Yeah.
any Pontevedra, northwest Spain. It's next year, nice part of the world.
Yeah, so actually the calendar for running next year gets interesting because now they've pushed back Worlds to be kind of middle to end of September. So I think what a lot of people will do is do an indoor season between like January and March, and then it's almost like they're going to start their outdoor season a bit later, like end of July, um, and run it through till the end of September. So I am actually looking to do some cycling in the middle. Like I'd like to do some potentially a duathlon again. Yeah, so maybe that would be an option. But also would love to climb some more of the stages of the Tour de France. So I did Mont Ventoux last year and loved it. So I would love to do kind of Alpe d'Huez or one of the other big ones next year. So yeah, that's a bit of my end of season planning. Gonna look into what the cycling options are.
All part of the master plan. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we will certainly be keeping an eye on those start lines then. And just want to say thanks very much, and thanks for giving us all a brilliant moment and an incredible finish to that 1500 meters. And
Oh, thank you.
forward
And
to
best of luck to everyone competing this week in the age group championships. Have a lot of fun.
brilliant. Nice one. Thanks so much, Georgia.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.